In today's video, we'll talk about the movies of Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks, born Melvin Kaminsky, is an American director, writer, actor, producer, and composer. Because of his Jewish-American background, many of his work not only references but also makes fun of his Jewish heritage. Brooks began his career as a comic and TV writer. In fact, he co-created the classic TV comedy Get Smart, which ran from 1965 to 1970. He would later achieve greater success in film as an actor, writer, and director. Some of his best-known films include The Producers, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, History of the World Part 1, and Spaceballs. He also produced the Broadway musical adaptations of Young Frankenstein and The Producers. The Producers is a 1967 American comedy film written and directed by Mel Brooks and starring Zero Mostel and Gene Wilder. The film is about a failed theater producer named Max Bialystock, played by Mostel, and his accountant named Leo Bloom, played by Wilder. These two realized that they could earn more money by producing a flop or failure rather than a hit play. In order to do this, they must produce the worst stage play musical possible in order to guarantee a failure. However, despite their best efforts to fail, the play becomes an unexpected hit. The Producers was later adapted as a Broadway musical in 2001 and a movie musical in 2005, both starring Matthew Broderick as Leo Bloom and Nathan Lane as Max Bialystock. Blazing Saddles is a 1974 American comedy western directed by Mel Brooks, starring Cleavon Little and Gene Wilder. The movie takes place in the Old West in a small town named Rock Ridge, which stands in the way of a new railroad project. The corrupt Attorney General Hedley Lamar plans to make a fortune by forcing Rock Ridge's residents out of town. In order to do this, he sends a small gang of thugs to wreak havoc on the town. To wreak havoc means to cause damage, disruption, or destruction. To make sure his plan succeeds, he convinces the dim-witted Governor William J. Lepetamain, played by Mel Brooks himself, to send a black sheriff to protect the town. Dim-witted means not intelligent or stupid. However, Lamar's plan goes awry when the townsfolk reluctantly embrace their new sheriff and fight together against the thugs terrorizing their town. To go awry means not in the intended manner or wrong. The film not only satirizes film genre cliches, but also racism through outrageously funny and sometimes offensive situations. In fact, comedy legend Richard Pryor co-wrote the screenplay and was originally set to play the sheriff part. However, the studio refused to cast Pryor because of his controversial and public issues with drug abuse. Award-winning actor Cleavon Little was cast as sheriff part instead. Young Frankenstein is a 1974 American comedy horror film directed by Mel Brooks. Gene Wilder plays Dr. Frederick Frankenstein, the grandson of the infamous Dr. Victor Frankenstein. At first, he's insulted and ashamed of his grandfather's reputation and tries his best to distance himself from his dark family legacy. So much so that he asks people to pronounce his name Frankenstein instead of Frankenstein. However, when he's called to Transylvania, he is fascinated by his grandfather's work and becomes obsessed by recreating the experiment. Two unconventional assistants help him in his quest: a hunchback, bug-eyed servant named Igor, played by Marty Feldman, and a young assistant, Inga, played by Terry Garr. With their help, Dr. Frederick Frankenstein succeeds in his mad experiment, creating a dim-witted monster played by Peter Boyle. The film is a parody of the Universal horror films produced in the 1930s. In fact, not only did he shoot the film in black and white, but also used some of the same props used in the classic Universal films. History of the World Part 1 is a film written, directed, and starring Mel Brooks, Gregory Hines, Dom DeLuise, Madeline Kahn, Sid Caesar, among others. The film is a parody of historical epics and period costume dramas. The movie mainly consists of 4 segments set in different time periods. The stories are set in the Stone Age, where the film parodies prehistoric life of cavemen, the Roman Empire, where Mel Brooks plays a Roman stand-up philosopher turned slave, the Spanish Inquisition, where the film uses a musical number to satirize such a dark time in history, and the French Revolution, where Brooks plays both a French king and a servant caught in the middle of the revolution. The film also makes fun of religious events such as the Ten Commandments and the Last Supper. Spaceballs is a 1987 American sci-fi comedy co-written, directed, and starring Mel Brooks. The film is a parody of the Star Wars films as well as other popular science fiction films. The film also stars Bill Pullman as Lone Star, John Candy as his loyal sidekick Barf, Rick Moranis as the evil Dark Helmet, Daphne Zuniga as Princess Vespa, and Joan Rivers as the voice of the robot Dot Matrix. The definition of a sidekick is a close companion, partner, or friend. Mel Brooks plays the incompetent President Scrooge, as well as the wise Yoda-like mentor named Yogurt. The movie deals with Princess Vespa escaping from an arranged marriage and being kidnapped by Dark Helmet. President Scrooge plans to use the princess as ransom in order to get the secret combination to the shields protecting planet Druidia's heir. A ransom is a sum of money or other payment demanded or paid for the release of a prisoner. However, Lone Star and his co-pilot Barf, a half-man, half-dog, rescue the princess. Together they try to escape from the clutches of Dark Helmet, while at the same time learn about each other and even fall in love. The movie is such a blatant parody of Star Wars that Mel Brooks got George Lucas' blessing with the condition that Brooks produce no merchandising for the film. Blatant means something obvious or intentional, and done without worry about what others think. Spaceballs is not only considered a cult comedy classic, but also one of Mel Brooks' biggest box office hits.